The basement smelled of damp stone and gun oil. It was just after midnight on July 17th, 1918. In the house on 10 Voznesensky Lane in Yekaterinburg, 11 people stood in silence. The Romanovs, once the most powerful family in Russia, now prisoners of a crumbling world. Tsar Nicholas II, his wife Alexandra, their daughters Olga, Tatiana, Maria, Anastasia, their sickly son Alexei, and 4 devoted servants who refused to abandon them. They had been told they were being moved. That White Army forces were closing in, and the Bolsheviks needed to relocate them for their safety. The family dressed quickly and descended to the cellar, carrying small bags, cushions, and faith. They believed they were going home, but home was gone. The guards entered the room. 11 prisoners faced them, some seated, some standing. Yakov Yurovsky, the leader of the execution squad, read a short statement. The Tsar blinked in confusion. "What?" he asked. "What did you say?" And then, chaos. Yurovsky raised his pistol and shot Nicholas in the chest. The Tsar crumpled instantly. The others froze in place. Then the room exploded with gunfire. Alexandra fell next. Screams echoed off the stone walls. The air filled with smoke. Bullets tore through flesh, ricocheted off brick, lodged in bone. This was the moment Russia severed its royal bloodline, not in exile, not on a scaffold, but in a grim cellar lit by a single bulb. The daughters didn't die immediately. The executioners had not known that the girls had sewn jewels and diamonds into their corsets to hide them from looters. The gems acted as armor. Bullets bounced. The girls writhed, confused and bleeding. One screamed for her mother. Another tried to shield her brother. The guards began stabbing with bayonets. It was a frenzy, clumsy, brutal, uncoordinated. Not a clean execution, but a slaughter. It took 20 minutes. Alexei, the Tsarevich, was the last to die. The hemophiliac boy had fallen early but clung to life, paralyzed and gasping. One of the guards shot him point blank in the head. And then, silence. Above ground, the city remained asleep. No one heard the final breath of the Romanovs. The house was quiet. The revolution had done its work, but it wasn't over. The bodies were stripped. Jewelry and money were collected. The corpses were loaded into trucks and driven into the woods. There, they were dumped in a mine shaft, doused in acid, burned with gasoline. Later, fearing discovery, the Soviets moved them again, this time to a remote forest clearing. The exact location was kept secret for decades. The Soviet government lied. First they claimed Nicholas had been executed, but not the others. Then, nothing at all. For years, the fate of the Romanovs was a mystery. Rumors spread. Anastasia had escaped. The children were alive. The servants spared. But they weren't. In the 1990s, after the fall of the Soviet Union, the truth came out. The graves were found. DNA testing confirmed their identities. Even the missing 2, Alexei and Maria, were eventually discovered, buried apart in a second pit. The story that ended in a cellar became a monument, a reminder. The Romanovs ruled for over 3 centuries. They were gods in palaces, untouched by the world they governed. Nicholas believed in divine right. He ignored the warnings. He dismissed the hunger, the strikes, the war. And when the empire crumbled beneath him, it took his family with it. This was the middle of the revolution, the point where ideals turned to violence, where the cause became irreversible, where mercy died in the dark. The execution wasn't justice. It wasn't even strategy. It was a message. To the monarchists, to Europe, to anyone watching. The old world was gone. Russia would not go back. Not ever. And so a family became bones in the forest. A dynasty became dust. Today, the execution house is gone, demolished to erase the memory. But the cellar remains, buried beneath a shrine. Pilgrims come in silence. Candles are lit where the bullet holes once marked the wall. Some say ghosts linger there, not of royalty, but of innocence lost to ideology, of children caught in the jaws of history. Thank you for listening to Last Post History. Subscribe for more true stories from the world at war.